chatpati stories, phenomenal information and awesome conversation जो करेंगी आपको help. The Sam Show.
The three learnings that you feel you received from Sachin, or the three positives that you think you'd like to share?
Number one is his absolute pure childlike passion for the game of cricket. The second would be in his precision in his preparation and his planning. And the third would be his calmness as an individual, regardless of the situation of the game. Virat, his ability to chase down a target is incredible. He gives 100% of the time. And I would say his absolute hunger to score runs and to keep his wicket and put pain on the opposition batsman, bowler.
Paddy, was Yuvraj's health, which was fading, was it like sort of apparent at any stage during the 2011 World Cup?
It wasn't apparent, no. Yuvraj does sometimes have reactions under extreme pressure, and it just seemed to be like his normal pressure reaction. And it was only in hindsight that we realized it was a lot more than that.
Right. And how was Yuvraj to deal with in the 2011 World Cup, considering he was player of the series? Did you let him be, or did he need to be coached to get there?
I think probably what's interesting is it started 6 months out when Yuvraj had actually been dropped from the test side, which was quite a big blow to him. He realized he had some work to do. So he went away, and we did some work in the lead up to that. And part of Yuvraj's dream that he literally had every single day in the 6 months leading up to the World Cup was he imagined himself hitting the winning runs, which was in his mind was against Australia in the final, and hitting the winning 4.
Gautam Gambhir was referred to as an insecure player by you in your book. What's the reasoning behind that?
I don't think I've ever worked with a player who is truly fully secure in themselves and their skill. Gautam was just open to say that he is not secure within himself and his skills. He said that publicly. So he just said what so many players were too scared to say. And he still went on, despite that, to be the International Test Cricketer of the Year. And, you know, the guy who probably laid the entire foundation for winning the 2011 Cricket World Cup. So he built on and used his insecurities beautifully, where a lot of other players hide them. But they all have them.
The best advice you received as a coach?
Probably from MS Dhoni. I always used to talk in team meetings early on in my tenure with the Indian team. And one day he came up to me and he said, "Paddy, you don't always have to talk in a team meeting," which hit me straight in the ego, but delivered a great message. Only speak when you've got something really relevant to say, not for the sake of it.
Your opinion on Sreesanth and how he could have been managed better?
Sreesanth had an incredible skill with the ball. As a personality, he was eccentric, he was different, he was an artist, he was a creative, and he needed to be managed differently to what your stereotypical cricketer needed to be managed. And I'm not sure that a great job was done managing him according to his personality and his eccentricity.
Most memorable moment in your coaching career?
Without a doubt, that 6 that went over the boundary to secure the 2011 World Cup final win for India.
Any special anecdote in the 2011 World Cup final against Sri Lanka which people don't know about?
Well, I'll give you my personal experience. When Sehwag and Tendulkar had got out, I thought that a lot of people were worried because those are two big names. For me, the two most important people in a final was Gambhir and Dhoni, and both of them were still, one was batting, one was to bat. And then when Dhoni walked out to bat ahead of Yuvraj, one of the players turned to me and said, "What's that about?" That player didn't know it. And I turned to that player and I remember saying, I didn't think it just came out of me. I said, "Dhoni is going out to fetch us the World Cup trophy."
So in 2008, Gary and you joined the team with relatively low experience in how to coach a cricket team, and you took India to a World Cup triumph.
I wouldn't say low experience, I'd say no experience. Gary had never coached a cricket team in his life, not even his school's under-9 team. The role I was in, I had never done before, so it was brand new. So we were two real, complete novices arriving to coach the biggest brand in world sport with Tendulkar, Dravid, Laxman, Dhoni, Harbhajan, Kumble, it's the greats of the game. So it was somewhat daunting. We knew there were good enough players to get to the top of the world in Test cricket and to win the World Cup. We just needed to figure out a way how to do it, which is exactly what happened.
On working with Gary and lifting the ODI World Cup in India, for India, what was that about? That emotion, what was it at the end of it?
It's impossible to put into words. All I can say, if I could bottle those emotions and that we experienced in the first sort of minute to 3 minutes of winning the final, if I could bottle that, I'd make me the richest man in the world if I could sell that feeling so that people could feel it. And I guess every Indian also felt that feeling, but being there that close to the team, it was probably just that much sweeter.
Ashes or India versus Pakistan, the more relevant or more fierce sport?
I don't know. The Ashes is like watching a great high school debate. India versus Pakistan is like watching a great high school playground fight. Both are spectacular.
A player that you would have loved to coach or work with in the past and in the current?
I'd love to have coached the New Zealand team under Brendon McCullum, and figured out and understood how they punched so high above their weight.
Anything funny that you've noticed at the cricket field when you've been a coach of an international team or around them?
I noticed Sehwag batting really well, then all of a sudden things went a little awry and he got out a few balls later, and I went to go and speak to him later that day and I said, what happened? I noticed your game changed. And he normally sings when the bowler's running up to bowl, but he had been at the non-strikers for a while, and when the bowler turned to bowl to him, he forgot the words of the song he was singing, and he was so frustrated with himself that he'd forgotten the words of the song he was supposed to sing. He got out because he was frustrated about not being able to sing the song he wanted to sing.
सब्सक्राइब एंड नोटिफिकेशन की घंटी दबाइए और ये अगला शो जरूर देख के जाइए।